Here we go. We are streaming on Wednesday. I'm making a green jelly bean bracelet. I'm gonna get back to Scolla in a second, but oh whoa! Hey hon, look how gigantic my arm looks on the camera. It's like twice as big as my head.
I can do that.
It's like the opposite of body dysmorphia.
I can do that.
Yeah, your arms are almost as big.
Well, now this one's like not as big.
Let's see how big. See, this one looks really scrawny now by comparison, and this one's like super huge.
That's why my nose looks really big on these things, and I don't like it.
Like
FaceTiming.
They should make a special lens on a camera that like makes your nose smaller.
Opposite fisheye.
Yeah.
Or
what's the opposite of a fish? Like a bird eye lens, maybe?
I think. Yeah, there isn't.
There should. Well, I mean, there's a way to like spherize or like opposite spherize.
I watch a podcast. Well, maybe not really, but doing all the weird iPads.
Yeah. Hi, Damon. Yeah, I'm talking today because I had to focus last time, and I'm done focusing. Now I can be nice and diffused as God intended.
Like what's focus?
Exactly. I'm trying to do I started sketching in my sketchbook. There's this like magical stone in the book that basically infuses you with nanobots that ramps, it mucks with your serotonin and dopamine and like all your levels and gets you all like jazzed up and hyped up so you can be like a super soldier kind of thing. Not like Marvel superhero super soldier, like what a human could actually be if like their levels were messed with by nanobots. Okay. Anyway, it's essentially a stone that like goes onto a pedestal thing, like it fits onto a thing.
Apparently, it's not that smart. So I was like, what? Cool. They actually did.
And so Beaumark at some point puts this around his wrist, and that's like super unhealthy. Like you're supposed to touch it for a second or two, and it gives you the thing. But Linda, hello. Damon's letting us know the opposite of a fisheye lens is a rectilinear lens.
Oh.
So that's what you need.
I can't even say that word. That's why I've never known that word.
Yeah.
Crazy. Why would they name something like that? Like that's such.
It's because it's probably very like literally what it's probably rectilinear in shape. Anyway, so I wanted to make this thing kind of imply that it has a technological basis. It's not like a thing that was crafted by demons in a volcano or anything, but it functions as that sort of story device in the book. So I'm trying to marry this. I mean, that's what I'm doing in most of Talifar. Is I'm taking fantasy tropes and I'm doing like a grounded sci-fi take on them. So this is a particular artifact. I started drawing it and then I realized, oh, if it had some kind of like cool techie pattern on it, that could be cool. And then I remembered, oh, you know what? Zbrush has this thing called radial symmetry where you can do you can draw a shape and just have it automatically repeated for you. Not that shape. I'm gonna try to do some good shapes. But so it's just gonna do some kind of explorations, like something that can be read both as semi-techy and kind of magical, techno-mage style, I suppose. Which, now that I think about it, There's a name for that, and that's like a type of people that are in Talifar. should have really looked into techno-mage literature to make sure that I'm not leaning too heavily on those kind of tropes. Or maybe I want to lean on those tropes, I don't know. Oh, Damon cheated and looked it up.
That's okay.
For a second there, I thought he was smart. But he's obviously a moron.
Well, he was smart to look it up.
True. That is the new intelligence, is how do you access information now? I'm thinking I might want to actually do some research into patterns, because just like doing random crap out of my head is not necessarily going to get me the coolest thing. That's right, Damon, you are the dumb. Alright, be smart and tell me what kind of patterns I should look up. Let's try Indian. What is one of the sub branches of India? A region of India. There's, man, I cannot think of. Oh, I'll just try this. I'll probably end up with mostly Native American. No, look at this. Maybe not. Yeah, I'm looking for something that could kind of hit that sweet spot between magic and tech. Do paisley patterns actually come from India? That would.
I love paisley patterns.
That would surprise me. Yeah, I actually.
Well, cause like.
Just like paisley in general.
Well, I mean, because of the henna stuff.
Yeah, I like this kind of henna, like the fractal kind of circular motif patterns. Those are cool, but oh yeah, so Google usually gives you some nice suggestions. Festive motifs, prints, but it is not giving me what does tribal give me? I mean, that's kind of got a little bit of circuit boardy feel to it. Not that tech needs to imply circuit boards, but that is kind of a shorthand that every modern brain will pick up. Alright, what's another region of the world that has patterns that might work for that? Let's try. How do you spell Laos?
How about Disneyland?
No, not Louisiana. Laos. Is the country Laos not with a... Oh, man. Oh, I'll bet it's L-O-A?
L-I-C-E.
No, not lice. Lousy. Fractal, or look up cyberpunk mosaic or something. Yeah, looks like they definitely trade in mostly circuit board looking stuff. Hexes. Hexes have been so overused in the past decade for tech stuff. I mean, I love hexes, but it's that space is so occupied now. Oh, this bismuth. bismuth. That is an awesome. Well, I guess I think I'm noticing a pattern here. On Wednesdays, when I do like really heavy workouts, I lose words. Like all my brain parts were apparently employed in lifting heavy objects repeatedly.
Do you think it's just because you came like home and you're in like around me, and that's what I do, and it's like infecting you?
It's possible. Anything's possible. No, because it happens in the garage too. What is bismuth?
I am M. Night Shyamalan movie.
It is a mineral? I don't think that's the word, but maybe it is. I don't know. It's a naturally growing structure, crystalline structure. Yeah, but it makes these really cool like cybery patterns, which are interesting. Maybe I can draw from that. I'm clearly not spelling bismuth right. Okay, it's just muth, not mouth.
Sounds coming from down the hallway.
Yeah. Bismuth is an element. Don't think it's a mineral. Okay. I mean, how are these accretions happening? I saw a tutorial on how to grow your own bismuth crystals. Yeah, it's
like, do you have
pretty
to have
cool.
Stars?
What do you have to have? I mean, you have to have the element bismuth, probably.
Add the element bismuth.
I wonder if there's a... Okay. I'm gonna try doing something vaguely reminiscent of that. Let's try the clay buildup brush. Just dig it into places. Bismuth is kind of fractally in that, like, you'll have big lines of it and then littler ones coming off of that. I wonder if there's a good way in ZBrush to make the part of an object that's in front of you go away. Because I think, well, let's see. If I hide it, really? Can't hide it? That's weird. I wonder why. Can I mask? I can mask. Why can't I hide? Oh. It's hiding some part of it. What? This is really weird. Alright. Don't have time to figure it out right now. David says, half of bismuth's appeal, I think, is the refracted coloring. Otherwise, it's really just Aztec-like spiral.
Yeah.
Well, just Aztec spiral? I mean, Aztec spiral is pretty cool. It's hard to draw straight lines on the inside of a curved surface, turns out. That's not good. Damon says, don't get me wrong, I love that design, hints at being a large part of my avatar. Oh, well, your avatar to me is like a 12 pixel by 12 pixel, vaguely circlish shape. Looks like a Metroid map. Hey, that's a good reference. I do love me some Metroid. I mean, I guess if I wanted to get serious about making this nice and tight, I could just go into Photoshop and draw a pattern and then use that pattern as a kind of stamp. But this is more like I just need a rough gestural thing as a template for drawing to just trace onto paper. Huh. It's my normal brush being weird. I should be able to just tap and have it grow, and it's not. Let's try to drag rectangle. David says, first thing I made in Photoshop I thought decent enough to keep some 15 years ago. Right, let's check it out. This better be amazing. Oh. That's what your avatar is? It's pretty. I like it. It's got an industrial element with a like natural thing in the middle. What's it mean? What does it mean to you, Damon? I think the first thing I did in Photoshop was an eye. Because I did a lot of airbrushing as a teenager, and that was like my go-to wow factor thing, was being able to do all the nice soft transitions, and then the super bright highlight. You just like do that spot in the middle and it comes to life and everyone goes, ooh, ah. Damon says it was symbolic for an empire in my homebrew world for a game that was going to be a book that I never got around to writing. Welcome to the club.
You've been writing.
It's true. Well, the book that I've been writing on my own is definitely an on-again, off-again proposition. Whenever I finish a chapter, I put it up on Facebook. Feel like I can put other little elements here and there just to give it a little other dimension. Outside, I wanted it to just have something really subtle. So if I turn my radial count up to something crazy, like, no, it's gotta be 42 because that's how old I am. That's not a nice line.
Why is this one always like advertised?
Glow?
Yeah, like what? I don't know.
No.
What is happening?
I want to see it though.
You do? Why?
I've heard good things about it.
Oh, is that? What's this from? From Breaking Bad?
I don't know. It stands for Glamorous Women of Wrestling. It's like a drama about, you know, behind the scenes.
Of what?
Of Glamorous Women of Wrestling, which was a circuit of, you know, like WWE or whatever, but with women wrestlers instead of dudes. So, you know, it's like a performers. Is that too much like a tire? I want it to be semi-translucent, like a jade kind of thing. Damon says I would not want to have to clean that after I'd been on a sweaty person for a while. You know, that's how it gets character. But yeah, I think this'll do me fine. All right, I'm gonna save this as illustrations. Just gotta go into. Do I not have a Scarred King 2 folder yet? I do not.
Did you hear that?
No. I mean, I heard crackling. That was
gross.
Is your neck crackling?
No, that was my shoulder like popping out. Oh, it is not happening.
Oh, what? I hit enter. Did it say? That's supposed to say, yes, I want a folder, name that. What? It saved it as the tool? I said I want a new folder. Oh, I wasn't naming the folder. Can't remember if it has a better name than Stone of Power, but that's what it's going to be right now. And I better do some housekeeping and rename that now, or I will never remember to do it again. No, name the folder. King 2. Okay. Okay, now we can get back to Scolla. So, on my last silent stream, I was finding a way to make scales that were better than these ones that I was making. I was unsatisfied with how grid-like these were ending up, and I spent some time watching some other better people sculpting in Zbrush. Let's see, where's this one? This one's awesome. It's crocodile sculpting. But you can see he's like, he started with this kind of soft, lumpy, bumpy stuff, and then he goes in, finds where the pillowy stuff creases together, and that's where he adds his things. And so I think that gives me a good roadmap for how to not just make scales that I like, but also fade it down into the more amphibious skin that's under his like tough upper body. Yeah. Make this bigger. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to do some of this pillowy stuff. So here we have the top of the head. It's a good place to work on it. Let me make sure I don't have symmetry on. Symmetry is bilateral, good. So to make the pillowy parts, you know what, there actually is a brush I can probably pull up. What is that called? It like makes lumpy bumps automatically. Plastic? I don't think that's... I'm just gonna try that real quick. What does this do? Let's turn this to spray. Let's see, if I turn the brush size way up, turn the intensity way down, what do I get? Pretty much nothing. Still nothing. What is going on? Okay. That's a really creepy effect. Yeah, not really what I'm looking for. Is it blob? Is blob the one I want? Whoa. Huh. That's doing some weird things. What happens? Smooth it afterwards? Nah, not really the look I want either. Lumpy bumpinator generator. Exactly. That's what I need. The lumpy bumpinator generator. What's soft clay do for me? All right, I give up. I'm just gonna use clay. Have been good. Good results with clay. Just wanna like pick out some. I mean, so I'm coming off of this highly patterned area, moving to the back of the head, and I kind of want it to dissolve from this very clear pattern to a little bit messier pattern as it goes back. Not complete chaos, but like the alligator snout, like there's definitely a, you know, a large scale pattern, but within kind of at the medium scale, it seems pretty random. Bring that up again. So like, yeah, you can see like there's a lump there, kind of a lump there, and then it's just going in and refining where those fold together. And the more refinement that happens, what does happen here? This is pretty similar to what I want to do on Scolla's head. Because he's not connecting. Like, I guess he does end up connecting now. It's interesting that he goes, like, he's making very tenuous little branches out from the definite creases. I'm guessing he's going to go in and actually poof these up a little bit with an inflate brush or something like that. Oh yeah, well, yeah, he was using the inflate brush there. I'm going to try some more of that. Okay, so standard. Now, he was using the rake brush, and I was like, oh, well, he does such a good job, I should try using the rake brush. And whatever I'm doing, I'm not able to emulate what his rake brush does. And I'm guessing he's using a very particular alpha or something. Yeah, I just get these really harsh lines. Just they dig in too drastically and fast, so you end up with that stair-steppy thing going on, which then requires going back and smoothing them. Whatever his settings are, he has it so he doesn't end up starting with that stair-steppy. So the damn standard avoids that by actually, what the brush does is it pulls polygons down into a little V-shaped groove that it's digging, but you get a little bit more of a pillowy edge to it. It's not that nice bright crack that he's got. So, until I figure out how he's, what his brush composition is, I'm not going to be able to exactly reproduce that, but I don't want to exactly duplicate anyone's work, obviously. Just kind of want to learn from it and build off of it. Here's a spot. I can kind of get deeper. Here's the spot. I think where like 3 or more lumps come together, that's where you need to go in and call out the first deepest grooves. Dottie, welcome. When I had symmetry on when I was doing this forehead, and that's making me a little unhappy right now. I think I want to go in and I'm gonna muss these up a bit. Let's just try using the move brush. Pretty big. More natural. Let's see. So one of the beauties of using different subdivision levels, which can you guys see the slider? Yeah, you can. I can slide it all the way back to its very roughest form. And that's probably where I should have been doing the moving, but that's all right. And that is awesome, as opposed to what I often use, which is the Dynamesh tool. Because the Dynamesh, if you step down in levels of detail so that you can do more kind of general proportional work on it or whatever, you lose all the detail above it. But these subdivision levels allow you to pop up and down. It's one of the really cool things about ZBrush. fact, I should probably be doing some of my initial crack work, you know, at a lower level. Because that's what I'm trying to define more, you know, more of the medium level, the kind of secondary and tertiary forms. The higher subdivision levels are for when you're, you know, doing the very fine cracks and, you know, pores and tiny scales and that kind of thing. But since these cracks are actually part of defining the deeper form, makes sense to do them at this lower level. That's weird. I hit D and it said subdividing geometry. I thought D just put you up a level. It shouldn't be doing another process. But there, it's saying subdividing geometry. Why is it doing it? Well, it doesn't look like I lost anything. Huh. I don't know if that's a quirk in the new Zbrush 2018 or if it's something I just never noticed before that's always done. Fat Cat, welcome. Alitha, hey. Just got done playing some Super Adventure Box. Excellent. The more you play Super Adventure Box, the happier I get. If enough people play it and talk about it online, eventually it'll be the first result that comes up when you Google Super Adventure. It will take the place of Super Adventure Club from South Park, which is a very different experience. Damon says he must be super duper happy in April then. That's right. April is not only Super Adventure Box month, it's also my birthday month. It's, you know, the celebration of so many mass shootings and bombings and Hitler's birthday. I mean, what is there not to love about April? Specifically April 20th. Seriously, you should look up April 20th, just, you know, things that happened on April 20th. It's, besides my birthday, it's pretty depressing. Damien says, without World 3 and World 4, though, how can we ever be truly happy? It's like being engaged, never getting married. There's a bit like that. I agree. But you know, you never know what the future holds, do you?
Stay alive. Let no stranger
Damon says, is that why everyone gets stoned on 420 to forget everything on that day? Probably. Probably. Or it's because they're celebrating my birthday. I don't know which. I'm guessing that no matter how I do these forehead convolutions, there will be some Klingon made at some point whose forehead ridge looked exactly like it. It's just unavoidable. They've done every form of forehead convolution at this point. Damon says, I'll put it on my calendar and shoot my boss an email saying we should adopt it as a company holiday. Foreman Festival. Yes, that seems appropriate. A coworker of mine just sent me a video from, I don't know what show it was, but it seemed to be about like a reality show about young boxers or MMA fighters or something. The short clip I saw was one of the fighters whose name was Josh Foreman, and it had AKA baby-faced assassin. Yeah, Josh Foreman, baby-faced assassin. So we could celebrate both of our days on that day and just call it the Josh Foreman Babyface Assassin Birthday Holiday Extravaganza. Nasser, hello, hello. So I'm thinking the face is probably going to be, it's going to be some of the kind of softer tissue around the nostrils and mouth and eye areas, and ears will be softer, more flexible, and then it gets a little more scaly around the back of the head and hump and down the shoulders a bit, and then it will go to amphibious, softer skin over most of his sacky torso, and then probably some more scales around the hands and feet. I think that's my current plan. As I do these more inner crackies, I think I want to have a much more subtle touch to it. Dottie, you think it's looking awesome? Excellent. Yeah, you know, it's amazing what can happen when you just spend some time and try to find someone doing something similar who's better than you, and then try to copy what they're doing, and you end up making cool stuff. In fact, I'm going to bring that up again right now. Let's see what else he's doing. So he's throwing on some more micro bumps before he's attached all of these shapes. That's interesting. Adding little pimple dimples. Checking his reference. So down here he's connecting his lines a lot more clearly, and I wonder if that's because his reference is just like much more clear down here and less clear up near the top of the snout. But notice how like flat and featureless this is. It doesn't have as like all the bumps and stuff on the snout. It's doing really crisp, hard cracks here too. That's interesting. Also, these little cracks that go to nowhere. That's interesting. Although I'm guessing he's going to go in and like continue them with a much softer touch. But yeah, I gotta remember I want to put some cracks to nowhere in. Yeah, and then he's doing this kind of micro texture right away. Oh, interesting. Okay, so on the super bright cracks, he's using Form Soft. Form Soft. Let's see what Form Soft gives me, shall we? Looks like it's okay. Well, if I start with a rake, do a really crisp line like this, and then Form Soft it. Oh, it's just like it's blowing out the crack. Yeah, again, I think something. I think he sets up his brushes. He customizes them a lot. So. Yeah, when I do light, I just end up with these really dotty, stair-steppy things. Yeah, maybe it's just that I'm too close. Like, I could up the resolution. No, even from back here, it's not a nice clean line like you get with damn standard. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and throw do what he did, and where's the normal brush? Oh, I hid it over here, so far away from myself. Okay, and one of these leathery skins was super cool. Is it this one? Let's see, shall we? Perfect! No, just kidding, that's not perfect. Let's turn our intensity way down. Doesn't give me anything I like. Gosh, I wish I could see a preview of those. Is there a plugin for Windows that lets you see previews of PSDs? That's a great thing that I should really know. It's not doing it for me either. I think if I go through the painful process of opening Adobe Bridge, I can see alphas. I guess I should just bite the bullet and do that. I want to locate and import preferences from previous versions of Bridge. No, I don't know. Okay. Where's my stuff? Art, resources, Zbrush, alphas. Here we go. Hooray! Why can't Windows just do this? Okay, so I think I want... And where's my preview? Preview. I want just some general craggy, bumpy noise. Maybe pebbles? Okay, these are ones that I made from photographs. Ooh. Yeah, okay, so skin, dot to dot. Resources, Zbrush, the alphas, Skinnoite. Now Siri thinks Skull is looking perfect. Excellent. Glad you approve. Yeah, this is much closer to what I was hoping for. When am I going to finish this project? When it's done. I mean, which project? Like Scolla himself? Or the books that he's appearing in? Or, you know, getting the television series greenlit and on the air? Or, you know, there's a lot of stages of development yet to come. I hope to have this sculpture done within, I don't know, maybe even a week. I feel like I'm making really good progress on the skin, and once the skin's done, there'll be probably some minor posing, and then I'll have to go back and try to figure out how to do the rendering again. Ugh, I hate rendering so much. So technical and obnoxious. And then I'll make a beautiful book cover. I'll also make a 3D print of this guy, and then hopefully cast that and have it either for sale or for promotional giveaways. Today for Super Adventure Box Day, I fixed one of the sculptures that I 3D printed, the B-Dog ones. I have a video where I showed how I did some 3D printing, and I made a set of 6 or 7 of those prints so that I can give them to members of the team who worked on Super Adventure Box. And one of the members of my team, who should go unnamed, broke hers on accident when she was moving it. And it was not as easy as just super gluing it. I had to like drill holes in both parts and reassemble it. And Sear says, but one thing I gotta mention, it seems like the head skin has a very beautiful textures and detail, but the lower body has no tiny details and textures, so they feel a bit separated. Yes, I have not done the body yet. So the idea is I'm gonna transition from this lumpy bumpy, scaly to bumpy, reptile feeling to more like amphibious toady feeling, and softer skin down. But yeah, that's definitely going to take a little bit. That's why I'm thinking it's probably going to be another week or so of work doing these micro textures. But actually, I mean, just even throwing these stamps over it has got me pretty far. I'm going to try to do, let's see, does a form soft make good lumpy scales to drop onto here? Or is I think clay is probably still what I want to use, but makes a pretty good bump, I think. Although it's not, so using this brush, it's like inflating the polygons under it a bit, right? But it's doing it's like interpolating the polygons so smoothly, unlike what the clay brush does, which is builds it up to a point, but then as you add again, it like not sure what exactly it's doing, but it makes it so you get a little more, I guess you could call it noise, just like random shapes in there that I'm not seeing happen with the Form Soft brush. I like those little bits of randomness that come for free with the tool. I don't have to spend brain cycles on thinking up different new random lines. That's a big advantage. Some tools over others. Nasir says, so what's your idea of sculpting Scolla digitally? Are you going to 3D print him or just have him as a reference? Yeah, I want to 3D print him for sure. You know, I'm gonna render him out for the book cover. Although, if I'm gonna 3D print him out, maybe I can just literally photograph the print. Then I don't have to deal with all the rendering crap. God, have I mentioned how much I hate rendering? That's a better way to go. Since, I mean, I plan on having, like, you know, actual models, 3D models anyway. Maybe the book covers should just be photographs of those actual printed sculptures. Nasir, you are so good at getting my brain to think, you know, slightly laterally to where I was going originally, and thinking up new, better ideas. I really appreciate you whenever you join the stream. Damon does that too. Aletha never does. Aletha only takes and takes. She just sucks the creativity right out of me, and you know, it's really a bummer every time she joins. No, I'm just kidding. You know I love you, Aletha. Okay, since I'm liking this effect of this area so much better than what I had here. This is just feeling kind of out of place to me now. So I am going to pop down a couple levels. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Just smooth the crap out of them. That's right, Aletha, you're a taker. Taker, taker, taker. If they wrote a book about you, it'd be called The Taking Tree. Oh, wait. I need to not do this yet. Since I had symmetry turned on these areas, it would make sense to do them both at the same time. Yes, okay, excellent. That's how Aletha is so creative in writing all those books. It's because she's sucking the creativity out of everyone around her. Creativity vampire. I'm on to you, Aletha. I know your secret now. stamp is really cool because it helps to reinforce the direction that the lines are going and subtly add variation to the direction, which is super nice. Yeah, and then just rotating it 90 degrees, it gets some natural kind of back and forth going. And then I think I can just go in and pick out the ones that I like. You know, maybe add some lines to continue the crease where I want it. Probably want to pick some out that I want to super emphasize so that there's some nice variation in there. Yes, here it says, Josh does Scolla's ear folds as if he wants to, or they're always up like this. You know, I feel like this is probably the relaxed position that his ears are in. I feel like when he's super paying attention or scared or something, they could like go straight up like, what are those, boxers? Are those the dogs? Or dash? No, Dobermans. Those are the ones that have the ears like straight up. This is probably pretty close to just natural relaxed ear pose. Oh yeah, and I still haven't gone in and done the veins I want to do. I think I need to do the scales first, although now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if... Oh. No need to wonder, I'm just going to try some stuff real quick. So if I use the form brush, I'm guessing the advantage of that is it pushes your detail up over it as it goes, rather than obliterating it. So like with the clay tool, will obliterate what's under it. And I'm guessing the form, that is also obliterating. What is the brush that? I mean, maybe just the standard brush will do what I'm thinking. Or nothing. Okay, yeah. You can see as I'm moving it, it's not wiping out the texture underneath it. So, bumping the intensity, making the brush smaller. That's too much. And Sarah asks, another question, will Scolla have a love partner later in the story? You guessed it, he sure does. Although she's unconscious through much of the story, sadly, but makes up for it once she comes back. Let's see. So does that read as a vein? I think it does. Oh, I had symmetry on. I don't want symmetry when I'm doing veins. That's not a good look. Yeah, that works. Let's see what happens when we make a slightly larger one. Yeah, Sears says it would be awesome if one day we get a Pop Funko of Scolla, a chibi version of him. And I mean, his head is already like a quarter the size of his body. I guess if you made the head, let's see, it would have to be about this big to be chibi. Here you go. Done. Now, will veins work in the ears? Trying to think if it makes sense how the veins would like cross these kind of gaps. I don't know if they should like fade as they get to it and then come back and then if they're threading. So the idea is these would be semi-cartilaginous ridges, very flexible cartilaginous ridges. And so the veins, I'm trying to think like veins in ears and stuff, they don't usually actually raise up out of the skin in the same way that they can on like a forehead or a neck or whatever. Oh, Zbrush is going to take a moment. All right. Yeah, Sears says, speaking of his head, can he articulate his head or it's fixed? Like, does he have a neck? Yeah, he definitely has a neck. In fact, he has like a turtle neck. He can stretch his head in every direction. Which I'm super looking forward to, like rigging him up to a skeleton rig and like seeing all the different really interesting poses and movements. That's like, I don't know, I feel like 80% of the attraction to this character is going to be the way he moves. He's got such a fascinating personality to begin with, and then you add to that like really interesting quirky moves and poses and attitudes and stuff like that. I think this guy has the potential to be like a super popular character. I've got to figure out what to do about these little artifacts hanging off here. I did it once. Let's see. I isolate them, I turn them into their own polygroups, and then I hide them, and then I delete hidden. That's okay. I'm not going to do that now. I don't. This is what I find. I hate doing technical stuff on live stream, stuff that I don't have the muscle memory for. I don't think it's not fun for me to do, and I doubt it's very fun to watch. So on this big kind of trunk of his ear tree, I feel like it makes sense to have the veins actually protruding from the surface a bit. And then down here in the branches, be a lot less protrudy. I don't mind little hints of it here and there, but I think like this super fine little vein work that's going on here, that's probably the extent of it. And you're mostly gonna see the veins through subsurface scattering. Like if his ear is backlit, you know, the veins will be dark, a little darker than the rest of the ear. Some areas that look a little too smooth and underdeveloped in there, so it's very easy to fix. Like that, done. No. Actually, take that back again. Symmetry on, double check, yes. These are a little too like rigidly straight, I think. This one has the right amount of directional jitter in it. And Esther says, Josh, I know usually creatures like cats with big ears, they have veins in the inside, but for Scolla, I think it would be much better for the veins were on the back of his ears only. Okay. Damon says, up in 5.5 hours for the gym. Nighters all. Hey, good night, Damon. Thanks for stopping by and contributing. Nasser says, because the inside part is so busy, but the back of the ears is more likely to show. Also, usually has lighter skin. Let's think about that. I think I haven't actually detailed the back of the ears. I just kind of have these big kind of stamps on there, which maybe that's all I want there to be. Doesn't look bad. It's a little weird that it's got this kind of fish scale looking thing only there and then only these here. I think I'll want to crossfade that a little bit better, but yeah, let's see. If I do a vein type thing back here. Oh, that's right. Always need to make sure I'm not accidentally messing up the other side. I feel like, is there a mode in Zbrush? I swear there is. I can't think of what it would be called, where it's like backface culling or something, where you can't actually affect polygons that you can't see. I think I saw that in a feature update a while ago, but now I can't remember. I need to look into that. Oh, and of course I had symmetry on. Urgh. Yeah, when veins are symmetrical, no matter how far away they are from each other, it still just looks totally wrong. Symmetry, not symmetry. Actually, I think turning on lazy mouse would help with this. And that did nothing. Stroke. Is it a different thing now? Lazy mouse. Smooth it. Up the radius. Okay, yeah, so that little line behind the cursor helps to keep the arc smooth. Because real veins don't have kinks in them. That would that'd be very bad to have a kinked vein. They could get pretty convoluted and like wrap around each other and stuff. They should not kink like a hose. You know what happens when a hose gets kinked. Alright, I'm going to try to pull some of that texture out, which means I'm going to have to figure out what that texture was. I think it was just scales? I think it may just be scales. Uh-oh. Is it that? That is not good scales at all. That is not what that was. Huh. Maybe it was scaly skin? Yeah, that looks right. Scaly skin. Letha says, I'm trying to look at the veins in my cat's ears, but they're having none of that. Weird that cats don't like to be examined. So this is definitely coming through the other side, but the other side is so kind of like noisy, it doesn't seem to make a difference. Nasser says, I have this idea for Scolla's ears to have thin skin between the bones, so it would let light through. It's like cat's ears in Subway. I think I have a picture. Nasser says, Josh, just Google ear veins. A cat picture should show up. Ear veins. Oh, there's some serious bunny ear veins. Here's the cat ears. Interesting. Oh, here's a technique for bleeding pigs in case, you know, you need to bleed your pig. Now you know. Yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking. Like, that's why I'm not going too crazy with the veins. I think they'll mostly be seen only in certain lighting conditions. Fade this texture out as it gets closer to the edges. Not a fan of what's going on here. Okay, it's not hitting that. So. Man, now I'm getting in a zone where I feel like I could just be doing this texture stuff for another 10 hours straight. However, I still have to take a shower and make dinner, so I should probably start winding down. Let's see, where should I call it? I feel like the ears are almost done. And I kind of like where the forehead is. Like, I'll come back to it, you know, next time I get on, I'll see if I still like where it is. But the only thing I'm a little unhappy with is just the kind of micro noise level is very even across it. I want to go in and pick out some spots and like smooth them out and stuff. Who needs showers anyway? Showers and dinner? Good question. Only wimps who are bad artists need to shower and eat. That's the way I look at it. Definitely like these kind of complementary lines hashing in from the webbing of the ear tips. That's a good look. And then I think I will fade them down in intensity and bring them up over these kind of scaly patterns. What's he look like as a jelly bean? Not a black jelly bean. He should be, what color? Blue jelly bean? Yeah. Beautiful. Gummy Scolla. Ooh, now he's spicy gummies. Scolla. Yeah, I think I'm going to save the detail work I want to do for the very front of his face and around the eyes. I want to save that for when I'm really fresh and can like examine what I've done so far and kind of pick out the very best of the techniques that I've created and or stolen from others. Yeah, so I think this is a good place to call it. And here says, by the way, does other animals have a belly button like us? Well, I believe almost all animals have umbilical cords that attach them, you know, well, mammals have umbilical cords that attach them to the uterus? The placenta? Placenta is inside the uterus. It grows with the fetus, I believe. Let's see. Nasir is concerned. Are you going to even the curve of his ears? Because from the back looks chopped up. You're talking about these little fringes here. No, I mean I want them to have that kind of fringe look to them. I'm definitely going to go in and like So I'll be doing this kind of thing where I like imply some structure under there and where the little like little spine or whatever is coming out. Yeah, actually I should have done that before I started adding all this little micro detail. But yeah, I'll bring up some reference of horns and claws and stuff to make sure I'm doing that kind of thing justice. Nasir says, no, not talking about their spin. I assume you mean spine. Oh, you'll have to draw me an illustration to explain what you mean then. But not tonight because I gotta go. I gotta go get wet and soapy, and then I gotta get a full belly. So there, yeah. All right, yeah. So I'll see you guys weekend most likely. I'll try to remember to set a thing. Even though every time I set a thing, it just seems to set me up for disaster. But that's all right. I have so many positive things in my life that having some small negative disasters, it's not a big deal. So, yeah. See you guys. Bye.